Hello, Lasha.
Hello, Lanie.
Welcome to the Book Barn.
Yes, welcome, everyone. Today is our 4th episode, and we are going to discuss 3 books from our libraries.
I'm excited.
Me too.
And our first book today is None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell.
She is a New York Times bestselling author.
And this book was published in 2023. A thriller mystery
With lots of twists.
So we're going to start in a pub. Sitting in the pub is Josie Fair and her husband, Walter. And they are there because today was Josie's 45th birthday.
Yes. In walks Alex Sumner, and she is surrounded by a group of people. They're partying, they're having a great time, and we find out that it's also her 45th birthday.
What a coincidence.
Yes.
So Josie follows Alex into the bathroom.
Yes. She strikes up a conversation with Alex and lets her know that they're both celebrating their 45th birthday and that they're birthday twins.
Do you have a birthday twin?
You know, I have somebody who shares a birthday with me. We're not birthday twins in the fact that we're not the same age, but my son has a birthday twin. He has a friend who was born on the exact same day.
I have a friend as well that was born on the same day that I was.
You're a birthday twin.
We are.
If I found out that I had a birthday twin, I would probably go check out that person's social media. And that's exactly what Josie does.
She does.
She goes to Alex's Instagram.
Yes.
And she sees a picture of Alex with her kids in front of the school. And Josie realizes that her children went to the same school years ago. So she conveniently is there at the same time Alex is at school picking up her kids, dropping them off or whatever. And she says, "Oh, hi." Josie tells her, "I've got this good idea for a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And does she give her the idea right then?
I don't really remember that, but I do remember at some point Alex does start to feel uncomfortable, but the story's too good to not put out.
She invites her over. I know that. And they talk about Josie's life.
Some dark secrets.
Yes. She tells her that she's in an abusive relationship, and Alex decides, yes, this is something that I think would help my podcast.
Yes.
So she wants to keep going.
Yes.
Even against everyone's better judgment, I feel like. Or at least the readers.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
We should kind of talk about the little love of denim that Miss Josie has as well.
Yeah, that's one of the little things you get to see about Josie is she'll wear denim from head to toe. She even has curtains made out of denim. And Alex does ask her about it, I think. She asked her about, what's up with the denim. And Josie said, well, I mean, it was just something that was durable.
Sure.
So it made sense to her, but it presents itself in a way that, hey, this isn't typical, I guess.
Right. Of course, we had to have the girls wear denim to the book club when we discussed the book. That's just too fun not to do. So not only does Alex include her in the podcast, but at one point, Josie needs a place to stay. And she talks Alex into letting her stay at her house.
I cannot believe that. I can see, as somebody who's trying to be sympathetic and supportive to a person, I'm feeling like I've got to help this woman out. Okay. But after you hear some of the things that go on in this book, you are feeling like, what in the heck, Alex, why would you do that?
So once again, don't do it.
Don't do it. And her husband, Nathan, is not okay with it.
No.
But pretty much Josie just decides she's not going to leave.
She does not want to leave. And they have to kind of push her out, really.
They say that Alex's sisters are coming, which they are.
They are coming.
They are coming for a visit, but they tell her that they don't have room. That little story actually kind of backfires for them with Josie, but everybody just needs to read it themselves and figure this stuff out.
And we haven't even talked about Josie's daughters at all. that's part of the story too.
Yeah.
She has her daughter,
Erin, who lives at home.
She does. She lives in her bedroom.
Like Josie hasn't even seen her in like
a year.
Don't know.
I think it said a year, didn't it?
A year? I don't know. And she goes along and she like touches the door and sets her plate of food outside.
And not just any food.
No, soft food.
Has to be soft.
Baby food.
Yes. And this is an adult child. She's not little.
Does it say how old she is?
I don't remember.
I'm not sure. But anyway, she's a gamer.
And then Roxy.
We learn that she has kind of a violent history from school.
Yes. And no longer living at home.
Yeah, she's estranged from the
family.
or at least from her mother anyway.
Correct.
And her mother doesn't know where she is. You think then that maybe Erin has some communication with her. I don't know if Walter does or not.
You can see why this story kind of hooked Alex, because this is great stuff for a podcast.
Yeah, lots of stuff to talk about. Mm-hmm. Things just kind of spiral from there.
They do. I mean, we can't tell a whole lot more because we'll give
away too much.
The good stuff. But Alex becomes the subject of her own true crime podcast.
Yeah, pretty much. So what do we rate this?
Well, Goodreads gives it a 4.13 star. Our book club gave it a 4. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I probably agree with 4.
I gave my copy to my daughter-in-law. She loves true crime, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Has she read it? Do you know?
She's about midway, I think.
Oh, okay.
It's a page-turner.
It is.
I still don't know what's true.
No, I don't think. I think everyone has to read and form their own opinion, and I don't think we will ever know.
I think that's true, because none of this is true, and it's written by Lisa Jewell. I would like to talk to our listeners about how you and I know each other.
All right.
So I handed Lasha a yearbook. It's the year 1990.
I have it in front of me. She said, don't open it till I tell you to.
Go ahead and open to the first picture.
Okay.
So Lasha and I went to high school together, and on one of the pages in the yearbook, it has us dressed up for Twin Day.
We were twins.
For homecoming. We have on our cheerleading spirit shirts and some cute little skirts there, I have to say.
I think I borrowed mine from you.
You might have. And look at your hair. It's so cute, a little side pony.
We both have side ponies.
And mine is like big.
I know. I never had big hair. My hair was like thin and still is. But
I had to get a spiral perm to get it that big.
So long, too.
It was long back then. Yeah. Look at the next page.
Next page.
That's a cheerleading picture. We cheered together. Very fun. And then if you turn to the next one, I wasn't really sure if you were in the band or not. I couldn't remember, but there you are.
Yes, I was in band. I was in middle school band, and I went high school band until your class graduated.
Oh, because it's not fun without us.
No, it wasn't. Of course, my boyfriend, who is now my husband, we were high school sweethearts.
And that's something that a lot of people can't say. You married your high school sweetheart, and I married my high school sweetheart.
And we're still married.
Still married, and we were friends, and our husbands are friends.
Yes. Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
It is. So after you guys left, because he was in your class.
Mac was, yes, your husband.
So after he left, I was like, this band thing isn't so great anymore.
So you have to look at the last one. The last one's the best. It's a combination of prom pictures, and Lasha's giving her little guy a smooch on the dance floor, wearing her beautiful white gown. And then up in the corner, Lanie's wearing her JCPenney's black gown with her man. Great memories.
I love it.
Yeah. Absolutely great.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. It's really great.
We need better words. Yeah. As time went on, we both got married, we both had children, we both got busy with our careers, and unfortunately, we just kind of quit doing things together, and I regret that.
I know. We only live a few miles from each other, too.
I know.
So it's not like when I drive here now to the book barn, how in the world did we didn't lose track of each other. Why didn't we take advantage of this more?
That's what we should have done.
Because we remained friends.
Absolutely. You took my family's pictures because Lasha was a wonderful photographer.
Thank you.
And I taught your kids.
You taught my kids, all of them. Yeah.
Loved every minute of that. So we did stay somewhat connected. We just didn't do things often. No. And we should have.
No. Well, our kids were just a little bit different in age. You had a little bit older boys.
Yes.
And my boys are just slightly younger than hers. So they weren't in any classes together.
Life gets busy.
It does.
But thank goodness for the book club and the podcast.
Yes.
Because now I think I talk to Lasha more than most people.
Well, I tried to call my husband earlier and I called Lanie instead.
And that's how you do that.
Yeah.
So have you been to an aquarium lately?
Well, I have. Actually, it's been a year, but we went last year with my oldest son and his family. We went to the Omaha Zoo, and they have a really nice aquarium with that, too. It was a lot of fun.
I've been to their zoo. I have not been to their aquarium.
Well, it's in the zoo.
Oh, I missed that.
You did? It's like right when you first come in. Anyway, yeah.
Awesome.
It's like a 2-for-1 type thing because it's got this big, I don't think it's maybe as big as some others, but it still has sharks and stuff in it.
It's been a long time since I've been there.
Oh, yeah. Well, and maybe it's new.
It might be. Might be.
Have you been to any
We
recently?
did. Last summer, my family, my grandkids, we went to one in Branson, and it had everything you would expect to see at an aquarium. It had sea turtles. It had an octopus. And my granddaughter, Elena, she called the octopus applesauce.
That's so cute.
It was super cute. She practiced. And the next time she came to G Mama's, she could totally say octopus.
Well, and you know, my little granddaughter, Lila, just on our last episode, she had a book about octopus that she talked about.
I remember that. She was adorable.
Yeah, they're about the same age, too.
They are.
We have to get them together.
Soon.
Yes, very soon.
Well, my book that I'm going to tell you about, it takes place mostly in an aquarium in Washington State. So today I'm going to talk about Remarkably Bright Creatures. It's a debut novel by Shelby Van Pelt. It was published in 2022, and it was recommended to me by my daughter-in-law. And so that's why I wanted to read it.
I read this one.
I recommended it to you.
You did. I borrowed your book.
You did. It's a New York Times bestseller. And some of our other friends have read it as well. In fact, Lynn, she told me that she thought it was just delightful.
Yeah.
We're going to start by talking about one of the main characters, and her name was Tova. And I just absolutely loved Tova.
Well, you like... Go
I
ahead.
do.
Go ahead.
No,
Sorry.
I love older characters. And Tova is 70 years old, and she lost her husband. 30 years ago, her son, who was only 18 at the time, went missing. And so throughout the book, you're trying to figure out what in the world happened to her son. Here is this 70-year-old woman that is still working. She works at the aquarium. She cleans during the night shift, cleaning up after all the kids and the messes. I really think she kind of works because it keeps her mind busy because she's had a lot of bad things happen.
Yeah, I think so. She was a really hard worker, too.
Yes. And at one point, she actually finds the octopus is out of its tank, completely kind of wound up in some, I think they were electrical cords. Do you remember that?
Yeah, like under a table or a desk or something.
And she had to save him, and she gets him back into the water. And I think that's the point where Tova and this octopus really bond.
Yeah.
Tova's friends keep telling her she needs to retire. I can't even imagine still working at the age of 70, but she keeps at it. And so then we meet Marcellus. And Marcellus is a giant Pacific octopus. I love Marcellus.
I liked him very much.
So he actually narrates part of this book. And I know that part kind of shies people away.
It does when they hear talking octopus. Well, he doesn't talk. He's not talking. We're just hearing his thoughts. And that's where the book is coming from. Yeah, it sounds strange.
It does.
When you're reading it, no. Charming.
It is very charming. And I'm going to read a quote from Marcellus. Humans, for the most part, you are dull and blundering, but occasionally you can be remarkably bright creatures. And I think that was probably for Tova.
Yeah.
Marcellus is funny. In fact, that's where the humor comes in this book, is from Marcellus. Yeah. He's smart. He's very Houdini-like. He escapes his tank and he goes into other tanks. He wants little snacks.
Yeah, he can't eat too many because then that'll give him away. So he has to leave enough of the sea cucumbers.
Which tells you how smart he is.
Very smart.
He knows his species only lives for around 4 years and the clock is ticking.
Yeah, that part's sad.
That is very sad. We also meet Cameron. Cameron had been living with his aunt, and he's coming to this town where the aquarium is to try to find his biological father. He needs to make some money so he can pay his aunt back because she gave him quite a bit of money to go looking for his dad. He gets a job at the aquarium. He also becomes friends with Tova. And what I love about that is you have two generations, very different generations, and yet they are still able to really make a friendship.
Yeah.
And I love that about Cameron. And he does play an important role in the story. Throughout the book, you're trying to solve what in the heck has happened to Tova's son. You're loving this Marcellus octopus. Mm-hmm. He is pretty cool. And Marcellus knows things. And he just develops this beautiful friendship with Tova, and he helps her to learn some truths, and he helps her to heal. It is a charming and memorable book. I loved it. It's Goodreads will give it a 4.39. But I give it a 5.
I give it a 5.
So we love Remarkable Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt.
So what makes a book a 5 for you?
So when I finish a book, a lot of times I will give it a 5. And then I'll read something else and I'll like it even better. So then I rethink, was that really a 5? But I think for a 5, it needs to be memorable.
Okay.
What about you?
Yeah, I think so. I feel the same way. I read a book and I'm like loving it, and I get done with it and it's a 5. And then what I'll do is I'll go read some reviews that people have shared of the same book, and they post some, things that bothered them. And I'm like, I kind of agree with that. Well, now it can't be a 5. So plus I don't want to rate everything a 5.
I agree with that.
I feel like I'm a very solid 4 kind of gal. I give a lot of those ratings, but
for me, I have read a few lately that are 3s. They're just good. 4s for me are pretty great. And if it's a 5, like I said, it's pretty memorable.
Yeah. So 1, trash, huh?
I would say don't even touch it.
Yeah. And 2, not 2, but 3's okay.
3's good.
3's all right. Okay. Well, I was just curious.
Yeah. And it's good for people to know where we're coming from.
Yeah. So now you know how we get our ratings.
That's right. Lasha, what's from your library today?
Well, I have a book that's also about animals. We got a little theme going on here. It's a fun piece of historical fiction that's based on extraordinary real-life events. And that book is West with Giraffes by Rutledge.
I've heard of that book. It's on a lot of lists.
It is. It was a #1 Amazon bestseller in both literary fiction and historical fiction.
Nice.
It's been translated into 16 languages.
Wow.
And published in 2021. It was also selected as the Texas Center for the Book 2023 Great Read. So this is a book I think you should read because we have a couple of old characters in it.
Oh, they're my favorites.
First, the book is narrated by Woodrow Wilson Nichol, Woody Nichol. And he is narrating this at age 105.
Oh.
And I did read something that the author said she did that intentionally, 105, because of the wooden nickel. She had to get that 5 in there. He's a war veteran. He's telling the story because he feels like he has to get it out before he dies. He's in a nursing home. He's hallucinating that there's a giraffe out of his window, but he's telling his story. So young Woody's story starts in 1938. He's a 17-year-old Dust Bowl orphan from the Texas Panhandle. The poor guy has lost everything in the Great Depression. He lost his family. He lost his horse. He lost their farm. So he's traveled to New York. He's going to find his last remaining relative. It's a cousin, and that cousin is not thrilled to have him there.
Oh, what a bummer.
I know. While he's there with the cousin, he's working, and a hurricane hits the East Coast.
My word, poor guy.
I know. The cousin dies.
Oh.
But Woody survives. And also, arriving by ship in the New York harbor, there are a couple of giraffes. The hurricane giraffes. They are to be transported to the San Diego Zoo by Mr. Riley Jones.
That's going to take a bit.
Yes, it is. So Mr. Jones is an older gentleman, and Woody refers to him as the old man. He is a bit mysterious. We don't really know all about his past, but he's extremely kind to the giraffes, and he's concerned with animal welfare in general. And this character is based on a man named Charlie Smith, who is actually, he was the head zookeeper at San Diego Zoo. The girl giraffe has a really bad leg. They didn't even think she was alive when they found her, but they get her fixed up with a vet, and he says, okay, she's going to have a really hard time with this trip. But Mr. Jones just lost his driver. He quit, I think, is what happened. And he has to get these giraffes across the country somehow.
Oh, my road trip.
Yeah. And he has a mangled hand, so he really couldn't even drive this truck. It's basically just a big flatbed truck that they set the crates of the giraffes on. The giraffes can't even come out of the crates because they don't have any way to get them back in if they come out. And Woody is around just seeing all this action, and he is desperate. He decides that this is his opportunity. So he lies, tells the old man that he has experience driving a truck. Oh, he has none, but
okay, good luck.
Yeah. We also meet Augusta. She is a young red-headed photographer, desperate to make her name for herself in the world of journalism. She's driving her husband's green Packard, and she decides that she's following the giraffes to cover their cross-country journey. She's decided that this is going to be her big break.
And it might be.
Yeah, it might be. She has this beautiful red hair, and so Woody calls her Red. And it's a road trip across the United States during the Depression era. They stop at motor courts and roadside attractions, and they travel through areas that are just devastated by the Dust Bowl. As you can imagine, they encounter many obstacles, and there's a handful of interesting characters along the way. There's a taste of danger.
Ooh.
Yes, there's a little hint of romance. You learn some facts about giraffes and their funny little antics, and the author showcases the emotional connection that can form between different species and the impressions that they can have on each other's lives. It's also a story about stories. Let me quote a little bit from the book. On page 283, Woody shares his story with the old man, and the old man responds, "That's your first story, but it doesn't have to be your only story. That's up to you."
Oh,
I know. Isn't that great? So my thoughts on the book. I didn't totally love the character of Woodrow at 105. I got to cut the guy a little slack, right? He's 105.
That's old.
He's physically writing this story out with pencil and paper. But I find that a little bit far-fetched probably. But I did enjoy the book very much. I recommend it, especially for anyone with a love of animals. Goodreads had a 4.36 rating. I'm going to say I give it a 4.5 stars. I really thought it was maybe 5, but as I kind of went back over, thinking I'm going to review this book, I think it's not quite 5 because there were some things that bothered me, but overall, it's a great read, and I do recommend it. That's West with Giraffes by Lynn Rutledge.
And Lanie will be putting it on her to-read list.
I think you better. Thanks for joining us today, everyone. Be sure to tune in for our next episode.
It's our book club book.
We'll have a special guest, and we'll be discussing It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. We'll talk about this book cover to cover.
I can't wait.
We'll see you then.
I'm Lanie.
And I'm Lasha. Until next time, keep your bookmarks busy.